Hello and welcome to Swell Season Surf Radio. I am your host, Tyler Brewer, and we are going to be continuing our coronavirus pandemic coverage here. As the weeks go on, things definitely seem to be getting a little tougher. People's patience are wearing thin. You can see some people who don't believe that this is serious or that it's something that we should be, they think that we should take this lightly and that we should be going out and about and living our lives. But this episode is particularly interesting because we sit down with emergency medicine PA Brandon Balabus, who is a good friend of mine. And he has been working in all the ERs in Long Island. He's been working them. And he is giving us a firsthand account of what he is seeing. And it's sobering, to say the least. Then we go on and we talk to Dr. Jay James, who is a emergency room certified doctor. He and his wife have been working emergency rooms. They're both doctors, and they are in New Jersey, and they give us an account of what they see, or he gives us an account of what he sees, and it's scary. And then on top of that, the struggles that our medical profession are dealing with, the first line, first responders, everyone there, it's a really difficult balancing act between their career, their jobs, and saving people, and then coming home and keeping their families safe and trying to have some sort of normalcy. So this episode is definitely going to be a little bit more challenging to listen to in some ways. It's going to be very sobering. There's going to be a lot of really good insight into what's happening in our emergency rooms. And this is really geared towards those people who aren't taking this serious. Please listen to this. Both these guys know what they're doing, know what they're talking about. And I think it's important to hear this out. So we start up with my friend Brandon Balabus. Brandon is born in Long Beach. He is a diehard surfer. I knew him since he was a Grom. He was shaping boards out of his dad's container in his marina. Brandon loves to go to Puerto Rico. He's got a spot in the lineup at Tres Palmas. He has an incredible quiver of big wave guns. This guy likes to charge. So just for the people listening, this is not coming from some straight-laced doctor. This is coming from one of us, one of our surfers, someone from our tribe who is definitely seeing everything that's happening. So please give it a listen. Here's Brandon Balabus, and we'll see you on the other side. So, Brandon, welcome to the show. Good to have you on, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, sir.
For our listeners, can you explain what you do and what you're doing right now during this pandemic?
Yeah, so I'm an emergency medicine trained PA, physician assistant, but I'm sure everybody listening knows what a PA is at this point in our lives. So I work in the ER, but mostly now I'm in urgent care.
Wow.
So I'm basically on the front lines, seeing a lot of COVID patients, and it's been kind of a crazy month.
You're at Good Samaritan, right? In Bayshore, is that correct?
I'm not there anymore.
Oh,
I
okay.
was there full time for a long time, but we're still trying to work out like a per diem thing. But now I'm at the place that rhymes with Schmorschwell. You know.
for those who aren't from Long Island.
Right. Hey, look north, you know. Well, but so now I'm at some of those ERs on Long Island per diem, and then I'm full time in their urgent care.
Wow. And can you? Well, one, my mom used to teach at Good Sam, all the nurses and everything, so it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, my wife's she's still a nurse. My wife's still a nurse in the ER at Good Sam. Yeah.
Wow. So wait, how is that? How do you guys manage that, and how are you balancing that?
Well, it's interesting because we kind of work some opposite days, just for the kids and everything. But it's just a little more stressful than usual. Work's tougher for both of us, so we get home, we're pretty shot.
Yeah.
Don't really want to talk about work too much.
Yeah.
But it's good though, because my wife's just she's one of the best ER nurses I ever worked with too. So she's very good, and she's cares about her patients, works hard, smart, and she's great. And Good Sam ER is lucky to have her, and actually all the nurses at Good Sam are really good.
Yeah.
So honestly, all the ERs are good in New York, really. But I'm partial over there. I like all my colleagues from there, doctors, PAs, nurses, all the techs and everything are great.
So are you having some of your family help out with the kids as well, I imagine? Or can you? Or what do you
exactly.
How is that? Wow.
Yeah, so basically, my family's not really here, but Kelly's family all lives in the Babylon area, so we're lucky that they could kind of watch the kids if there's a day when we're both working. So it's a lot on the family too, but it's all good. We're making it work,
Yeah, and so what are you seeing? Can you describe for our listeners what are you seeing on a day-to-day basis, and how out of the norm is it for you?
So it's very out of the norm, what's been going on, but it's changing every day. Mm-hmm. I would say that it's kind of weird because I go back to maybe the first week of March, and honestly, to be honest with you, in February when we heard about this, me and probably all my colleagues poo-pooed this whole thing. We're like, whatever, China's death rate is nothing. It's basically similar to the flu, right? Mm-hmm. I was an idiot and believed China's data, which was probably all a giant lie. Because it's way worse than the flu and completely different. But anyway, so it just went from normal day-to-day stuff to 1 week we had, we might be getting some people screen them if they're from Italy or China, Japan. Mm-hmm. And then the next week it's like all hell broke loose, kind of, when it's like, doesn't even matter if you travel, it's here,
Wow.
And but then it was very crazy for a while. With the there's really multiple surges. I could go on with this crap forever, but there's a surge of the initial infection, which I believe we're kind of past already. Mm-hmm. Which was a crazy few weeks. But then you get the surge of the people that are getting really sick, which could happen, a week, 2 weeks after the exposure or infection starting. So then the hospital starts surging, and then the third surge, unfortunately, is the death rate surge, when the people who are in the hospital are dying now. So it's kind of multifactorial kind of deal. But, it's been a crazy few weeks on multiple fronts. But it's a crazy disease. It's not like anything anybody has ever seen before. My colleagues, some are much smarter than me. These really famous docs from, in emergency medicine and critical care, they've never seen anything like it. So it tells you a lot,
How
scary.
How serious? I mean, like, so I think we all were like this in February. We poo-pooed it, or we didn't take it as seriously. Yeah. And I think because we've remained relatively unscathed from like SARS and H1N1, we did have a bit, but it wasn't as dramatic and fast. And so I think it's, we haven't really had that experience in over, 100 years. So I think it's understandable for many of us to have thought we were safe, and isolated. And the world we're in today, everything is so interconnected. Now we have to, be aware of everything happening around the world.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is going to change the rest of our lives for sure. I kind of believe that, in many ways. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, we've never seen anything like this, our generation or our parents' generation. And even if you go back to the Spanish flu and all these, pandemics and everything, this is even different from that. Just this disease process is really freaking weird. I don't know how else to describe it. It just doesn't, it's baffling. It's just a really baffling disease, where, I can see somebody who's asymptomatic, positive COVID. And then I'll see somebody else who was diagnosed and coming in, they're going to go to the ER and code and die right then and there and decompensate within hours and die. And then you'll have everybody in between, and it's just baffling. I'm trying to make this for like the normal lay person, but basically it's really weird because there's this really weird oxygenation component more than a respiratory component for a lot of people, where people are looking good, but their oxygen level is really low. And they're breathing normally, and their vital signs are all good, their blood pressure and pulse and everything, and they look good, but their oxygen level's in the 80s. And you're like, what the heck? We've never seen this before in medicine. Anybody. Like, this doesn't make sense that somebody could have an oxygen level in the 70s or 80s and the rest of their body is not doing what it's supposed to do. So it's just really weird, and it's kind of freaky. But every single day, people are having meetings, much smarter than me, and we're exchanging ideas and seeing what works. Like at Stony Brook, people might have come up with something, and then they're sharing it with everybody else in the emergency medicine community, and it's just every day it's changing. And it's just kind of a crazy time, really. It's a crazy disease. I know even now people are it's like weird. Sorry, I'm like ranting about it.
Please
stop me at any point.
No. This is important.
And not to get into politics, right? No. Because I know we all have really vastly different opinions. But, it's like if you turn on one news outlet, it's like sensationalism and all this stuff. And then if you turn on the other one, it's like kind of still poo-pooing it and saying, oh, New York City just released these presumed positive death rates, and it's BS. And it's saying that, still it's not as bad as it seems. And I'm just watching both outlets saying this is insane. Like, I guess because I'm in it and seeing it, I'm like, they're both completely wrong,
It does,
and it's just feeding it to the public, which is crazy,
Well, it feels so, it's so dramatic, when you watch a handful of channels particularly, and it's very overwhelming. And then, like you go to the other one and they're downplaying, and some others as well. And it's hard to know the truth. The messaging has not been clear. And that's been a real issue, I think, for a lot of us. Like,